picked up. The more I ride it, the more I'm getting used to it. And the more I'm getting used to it, the more I love this thing. So let me try to find a place to stop and I can talk about some of the things that I did to personalize it and the things that I think could make it better. Alright. So I've had this Genesis Hellfire for about 6 weeks now, and I've been kind of trying to keep notes on about it and about what I've changed on it. I made a couple of changes that I thought were cool, that made it a little more useful for me. So let's see here. The first thing that I noticed was that I didn't know which way was the front, because the board is like whatever symmetrical. Looks the same in the rear as it does in the front. So what I did is I took a stencil that I had and I just spray painted this thing on the front, so that's how I know which direction goes up in the front. The next thing I did was I cut, so when it arrives, the grip tape is just all one piece. Let's wait for this wind. Actually, this is a good test to see if my wind screen works. But it's just, the grip tape is just one big piece here. And I don't know, as growing up skateboarding, I'm just used to seeing the bolt holes, so I just cut the grip tape to expose the bolts, which actually you needed to do because I needed to remove the trucks, which I'll talk about in a second. Everyone else's Genesis board, the cover never, this charging porthole cover, it doesn't fit correctly. Everyone's always just leaves it like that. What I ended up doing was I found a pen cap, like a marker that fit, and I kind of cut it down. It looks like this. And it's just plastic, and it fits snugly like that, and then I take this and I stretched it over there, and so that's kind of what that looks like. So the first thing you have to do is you have to loosen the trucks, but the kingpins on these things are upside down, and I don't know if that's by design or just because these things are made in China and they don't understand what the skateboard's supposed to be. So what I ended up doing was I flipped my kingpin around, which is why you need to remove the trucks, which is why you need to expose the truck holes. But I basically just took the kingpin out and I flipped them around. Like that. And I flipped them around, so now they're like a traditional skateboard. The next thing I said is the grip tape is too grippy. I don't know if that's really a thing, but it's just, if you carry it, if you have one of these and you carry it, it kind of wears away. It kind of wears away at your fingertips, whereas typical grip tape doesn't do that. So I'm thinking about just going to a skate shop and re-gripping it, but I don't know. It doesn't matter to me because I'm just, maybe over time, maybe it'll just wear out, or it'll be fine after a while. And lastly, the most important thing, which I have read is a problem, I thought it was like brake fade, like if I go down little hills, I felt like the brakes would fade or would stop working. But what it was, and I read that this is a problem, is that the remote will temporarily lose connectivity with the board, but immediately regain connection. And I think that's what's happening, because it always happens when I'm starting out and always when I'm braking. I'll brake and all of a sudden you can feel the board, like the brakes just let go and the board is unresponsive. But once you let go of the throttle and then engage the throttle again, it immediately connects. So I think that's what's happening. I think the board is losing connection with the remote, which when you think about it, sounds kind of dangerous. I've heard people say that it might just be where you're standing on it, like the battery, like you might be bending the board, or you might be flexing the board so the battery loses contact temporarily, and that might be what's happening, but I'm not sure. But you just got to be mindful when you're braking. So that's it. Other than that, it's pretty fun. It's a super awesome thing. You can get around really easily. It's a third of the cost of a boosted or a Evolve, but it suits me just fine for what I use it for. So I don't know. Hopefully that's it. If you're in the market for a Genesis or a cool wheel, you know, keep that into consideration. I'm sure all the other reviews kind of say the same thing, but I'm really stoked on this thing, and I'm glad that I have it. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. This is probably pretty dangerous, but this is so much fun. I love this thing. Seriously, the more used to it you get, the more fun it totally is. Until I eat it. But I can do stuff like this. I can like run errands locally. I can drop off my car, and then I can take this home. And that's what I'm doing.